Obviously, it seems pretty crazy that a 23-year-old can make north of 6 figures, but really, you put in a lot of hours. It's all a very transparent path until you reach partner. Hi, my name is Drake Pooley. I'm 23 years old. So I entered consulting right out of school from grad school and have been with my firm for 2 years. Every day is different in consulting because we're always working with clients. So if I'm traveling and at a client city, I'm normally meeting with them and then working on generally models or financial reports for them and presentations. When I first moved to New York from Houston, I wanted to live in a nice place in the big city in Manhattan because that's what I had always dreamed. After the first year, I realized it was an incredibly expensive dream, and even though I could afford it, it wasn't the financially responsible thing to do, so I moved to Williamsburg where it was cheaper, but I could still access a lot of the same amenities that New York has. Food is the hardest thing to budget for on my lifestyle. Almost all of it is on going out because I'm only in New York around 3 days a week. Every month I invest $500 in a Wealthsimple Roth IRA that's invested in a social impact portfolio. I paid off $12,000 of student loans in 5 months whenever I first moved to New York. I was very strict with myself, and if you know New York winters, you also don't really want to go outside during them. So if my friends wanted to go out, I would just invite them over to my house and we would do something much cheaper. I have $2,300 in medical debt from getting LASIK surgery, which I think was very worth it. So I financed the medical debt at 0%, so there's not really an incentive to pay it off any sooner. I would rather put that money towards my investment accounts where it could grow. The other fun fact about LASIK surgery is that in 5 minutes I negotiated almost $2,000 off the price, so always negotiate your medical bills. My dad always owned his own businesses and he was constantly working, and so I think I got some of that work ethic. And then my grandmother was actually a Lithuanian refugee who was the hardest working person I ever met. I think I've always been a workaholic. I always have to have some kind of project that I'm working on. You know, it's a very annoying habit I have. If we turn on Netflix, I'm going to be working while we're watching it. As a very young person, you do have to work extremely hard so that you can provide value to them and not just be, you know, another warm body in the room. One of the companies I'm relaunching with my dad and uncle right now is called Ultra Hot, and it's essentially this pretty 80s surf culture-esque brand that does a lot of stickers and clothes. It's been a really great process to work with my dad and uncle on a brand that was very passionate to them in their early career and also was successful, sold over 1 million stickers in the 80s. Another side hustle I have is tutoring Chinese students on how to navigate the career process in the US. I work with them for $100 an hour to essentially go over lessons about what is the different paths to professional development in the US versus China and how they could start their careers here. My biggest splurge is definitely travel, but I do in a way where I'm getting a lot more value than what I'm actually spending on it. A lot of people found out that points was something that I was good at. Sometimes hotels that are $3,000 a night over water in the Maldives. On hotels like that, I actually don't spend a single dime because I'm able to use all of the points I get from work travel. I ended up starting a travel newsletter earlier this year where I give people tips and tricks on how to get the best value and how to navigate the system. And so I now have 350 people on the newsletter, which in retrospect is not that surprising given I'm giving people free things for no effort. Because I'm always on the road, I wanted to volunteer, but I found it very difficult to do. So I actually created a website called freeresumereviews.org where anybody that makes under a certain amount of money a year or as a student could submit their resume, and either I would review it or another person I trusted a lot with career help would provide a free review. Over the next few years, I'm going to return to go get my MBA, which thankfully the firm will pay for the tuition if I am accepted into their program. And after that, I'm really looking into going into venture capital. I don't really have a target retirement date in mind. I think if I retired early, I would probably get very bored very quickly. So rather, I'm really just focusing on being financially independent, and I can do, whatever I choose to do, whether that's continuing a career in consulting or going into a different industry or living on a beach in Zanzibar.